top of Youngstown. Plus flight shit at the F. Yeah. And I will tell you now, I'm gonna do my thing. What? Fly around the city like I'm Superman. And all you motherfuckers wanna be human beings, but I will tell you now, I'm gonna do the plane. Now, none of the blame. I'm dodging cause I got the if I gave you I spent it 80 rings in a year, then I'm coming back around like a boomerang. And you can see my spirit flying through the rain. Game on life without a combination. I still be on my Drake Money and shit. Like boss, it's a whole constellation. Should get an award for spiritual gangster. Goddamn, let's believe I'm nominated. Scary spirit of life. I don't give a fuck about Freddy, Michael Myers, Saw, Jason. New copy days like a new monopoly. And I was in a book of Deuteronomy. I was doing all the numerology. Yeah, that's right. Parliament introducing a new astrology. Now you ain't gotta ask who the party team. We the motherfucker ones who be caught please. When a nigga land, they like, oh no. Jesus Christ, you don't know. That's my legendary man. They be like, don't go. Chicks hop on my stick, just like a pogo. They need to fuck with a man. You know we up in the air. Yeah, pilot man, I could fly yo. Yeah, fight boss, windy like Chicago. Yeah. It's the HPIF, human plane in a flash, on a spaceship or jet. That's right. I'm windy, flex, windy, windy, flex, windy. I'm windy, flex, windy, windy, flex, windy. Windy, flex, windy, windy, flex, windy. I'm windy, and I'm windy. Take you to Wendy's, yeah. I'm windy as fuck. I only had to take your bitch to Wendy's to fuck. Don't take me, motherfucker, be a cold in hell, seeing double star. Hollow tips, any nigga playing Robocop. 2 pop, 2 chains. You can call me 2 planes. Flight boss, got bombs like Saddam Hussein. You ain't got to choose. If you do, should be Kool-Aid. Only money, I'ma have to break you like it's loose chains. Superhero status, bitch, I grew up with Bruce Wayne. Right around the corner from my dude Blade. It's rolling on out like 2 trains. You should know I'm ballin' with no spotting. Flight boss, sick as Magic Johnson with no kind of falling. Call it what you call it. Monsters and them goblins. Spaceship so big, got an office in my office. Bitch, yeah, I just wanna win. I'm about to do it again. You and your friend. Yeah, pilot man, I could fly your flights. Yeah, flight boss, windy like Chicago. Yeah, it's the HPIF, human plane in a flash, on a spaceship or jet. I'm windy, flex, windy, windy, flex, windy. I'm windy, flex, windy, windy, flex, windy. Windy, flex, windy, windy, flex, windy. I'm windy, and I'm windy. Take you to Wendy's, yeah.
Who done shot the damn eagle out the sky? Who did it? Who shot the pellets out the sky? Get your T-Steam game up. Get your T-Steam game up and things of that nature, because a lot of y'all might need it, especially dealing with a lot of y'all flunk off riders in the left ankle, knee, knuckle cap. You know what I'm saying? Things dealing with your responsibilities. You know what I'm saying? Things dealing with your day-to-day tasks, especially if you got kids or you got a work job manager up. Yeah. You might even have to dance on the table like Bobby Smurder if you're going to try to get a deal. You know what I'm saying? Because it's going to make us all think about that money. Soon's Virgo go. Goddamn, soon the moon go on the Virgo. It's going to slide in there real slick. You're going to wake up on one side of the bed yesterday. Oh, I feel good. Wake up on the next side of the bed the other day and stuff like, oh, something wrong with my left kneecap. You know what I'm saying? I'm telling you. You know, fatigue energies come out of nowhere. You know what I'm saying? Unsurety energies come out of nowhere. Erratic energy come out of nowhere. If you was unproductive. If you productive or whatever the case may be, I guarantee you prepared because you acted out the harvest season. You did it on a micro scale. We're going to have a reactionary energy to harvesting whatever you was accumulating when the moon was in Leo, for you to accept what you was receiving or giving attention towards. Now, if it was on the productive end, once the moon go into Virgo, you're going to be able to capitalize off of it because you got the information, or you did something to the point that now you're prepared, and where other people ain't prepared, they start to get nervous and they might use you. They might need your ideas as far as 2 cents, or physical out your pocketbook or your wallet, an actual 2 cents. Maybe an individual you care about because it's a family friend, associate, or coworker. If you in a more stable situation than them, they're going to find something that they're unstable about. They left kneecap may start hurting, and this is their way to make an excuse of why they need to borrow money or something like that. They might never bring up they bring up their ankle. Man, my ankle been hurting all week. All this, that, and third. I think I borrow $75 for the next week. So be careful with certain family members and friends and associates around work. I'm telling you. Y'all don't feel me, yeah? See, because a lot of y'all ain't got no lives and stuff like that. I know about transits and energies and just people pop out the blue and strangers and stuff like that, and they still know what they be doing. It still got something to do with the energy we in at the moment. You know what I'm saying? So you go out to be aware right now. If you can't do it, no is going to be a key, essential word. You say no during Moon and Virgo, you building essential oils, new essential minerals in your body and stuff, self-protection, all kind of stuff. See, that's another problem with you Virgos. Y'all have a hard time saying no. Oh, I'm saying y'all got this perception if y'all a Virgo celebrity or a Virgo someone who's popular in that area or whatever, you got that perception. Behind closed doors, people who personally know you, they know you got a hard time saying no. And that build all kind of arthritis in the right ankle. So you got to be careful during this time, because you might have did it last week or yesterday or whatever the case. Tomorrow starting noon, around 12, 1 or 2 p.m. or whatever the case may be, you may feel like, since the familiarity of the energy was like, yeah, I could do it, you may feel like you have to do it again, put your foot in your mouth, and realize you can't do it. Then once it start to slide into that day 2, then the next, because it's like 2.5 days every time that the moon, you know what I'm saying, is in a sign or whatever the case may be, then you're going to start reaping the results. And then you might not like the results because you're going to be like, damn, I did that and I needed that for myself. Damn, I gave my friend, family, associated, coworker that crutch because they was talking about their ankle or whatever, and I needed that crutch. Damn, I ain't needed it last week. I thought I ain't needed it no more. I thought I could leave it. Nah, I need my wheelchair. You know what I'm saying? So be careful. Replace wheelchair with your responsibilities, your day-to-day tasks, whatever, because a lot of these things really is crutches anyway. This is why like birth rates are so low. Not for everybody, but birth rate so low, it ain't as high as it used to be for everybody though. But for the most part, it's because of those very same things that if somebody thought that way, you wouldn't be here. You think that way, and you start looking at those very same scenarios as a crutch or something that's holding you back, or something that's like you're in a wheelchair, so you handicap because you don't want to be blocked from going out shaking that. You know what I'm saying? Or wiggling around because you woke up one day and start thinking you was Usher or somebody, or you start thinking, let it burn. Let's switch that here. You start thinking you was Chris Brown or somebody. You start doing backflip or cartwheel. No. You got responsibilities. You know what I'm saying? You got responsibilities. So that's what y'all be needing to understand too. And Moon and Virgo will put you on your butt to realize that anything you was like, man, I swept up under the rug. I don't got to take care of that right now. Not when the moon going to Virgo. It's going to sit you right down and be like, nope, you got to take care of this. And you're going to be salty because you can't do the things that you thought you was going to sweep it up under the rug to go do. A lot of these things was fun. A lot of these, and it's hitting right for the weekend too. That's the best stuff for y'all. Virgo moon hit right for the weekend. That's messed up for y'all. Now, I don't want things to sound all crazy, you know. Certain signs may be able to get they 1-2 together than other signs with this energy. You know, specifically, you know, Capricorns, Tauruses, Virgos, y'all going to be the example of what to do or what not to do, but also how to deal with a frustration, because don't forget that the sun is how these energies is being emanated. So yeah, we all going to be involved in something that you already interested in, but you're going to be the example of how to deal with it, because you may bear all the frustration from it due to the fact of, yeah, we're reacting to your energy, but the way we got to express it is through your square, 90-degree angle. Sun still in Gemini. So for the most part, y'all think, because the air and the earth signs are the thinker, but where y'all separate from is one do it in a practical way, one want to communicate. So when it comes to the earth like to think and may not communicate unless it's something that they can practicalize or make sense out of. Air like to think but then like to communicate for the sake of reaching that solution. And every now and then they may communicate something that every now and then other individuals may think you just airhead at the moment, or we don't necessarily need to be communicating about that at the moment, or that ain't really practical, or it don't make sense to talk about that right at the moment. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of times they're the thinkers, but then they differ when it comes into what they're getting ready to communicate and think about. And then for the most part, when it comes into the earth signs, y'all gonna be in these energies, but specifically for Virgo, you're gonna be an example of how to deal with the frustration. So if you are already unproductive, you already ain't doing things right, and you already ain't got your natural Virgo energy together, the spotlight internally is gonna be on you. You may not know it because it's an internal thing, but people are gonna automatically have their spiritual pilot senses tingling to try to accumulate a group of thoughts and feelings to be able to know how to react to their situation in a much peaceful manner, or the manner that goes smoothly. You know what I'm saying? And not so chaotic. But the energy and the trait that people are unaware of, if they're not into this, is knowing that it's harvest season. Even if you don't like the terms and astrology and words and things of that nature, when the sun was in this time, we seen a certain transition from summer into fall. So we end up seeing, okay, that's the end of summer, this ended up change, or whatever the case may be. The moon is self-reflection. So it's that same quality when it's in that same position that the sun was at during that time of the year. So we're experiencing harvesting when it comes into our emotional state. So we're trying to collect this emotion, collect that one over there, in order to make some like sheltering or some type of bear energy that we could feel like we're in some type of coven or some type of covering, or some type of where we got everything we need and we ain't got to go out and about or erratic to go get it, because we prepared, or we got that sheltering energy, that quality energy, and whatever the case may be when it comes time to harvest all of your belongings. So when you can't go out and about and do these things again, you got them in your convenience. This is why we made freezers and refrigerators and things of that nature, so we just not digging things in the ground all the time, due to the fact of when we're experiencing spring and summertime, this keep the meat cold, and then we could dry the meat up and things of that nature and have dried corn or however the case may be. But that was the first refrigerator, you know what I'm saying, putting a little hole in front of the longhouse, or you know, when we start doing cabins or whatever the case may be, and we all start getting together and stuff, boom, first refrigerator was digging a little hole in the front or whatever the case, make it sufficient, put the little strings, make it a box like, so bugs in the dirt, it's like it's its own home, own container, and food stay cool all spring and summer. You better believe it. And you could dry corn out and stuff like that, and dried meat. And then when eventually we start doing that with pigs and stuff like that, with dried little bacon and stuff like that, and dry little deer, a little possum meat, you know what I'm saying, and stuff like that. But yeah, you know what I'm saying, fish we had to do a little different. You got to eat that a little faster, or however the case may be. But when you think about that physically, we get that from the internal energy also. So when you think about your internal esoteric spaceships, space characteristic, animalistic natures that you can express as a whole, and do it in a more evolved way that you just choose to call yourself human at the moment, but at the same time, right? These are things that we create to create a safe haven within ourselves, or a shelter. And when we're talking about the moon being in Virgo, this is what you're going to be trying to do emotionally. And if you didn't do that a lot with your own buildup, planting your own seeds, you're going to be looking for other people's natures of how they're reacting to situations that, you know, if you was in a similar situation, you may not necessarily know how to deal with it in that kind of calm, cool, and collected manner, or in that type of sufficient manner, or have the awareness that these was qualities, or these was physical or material attributes that was needed to make sure these type of situations go through a lot more smoothly, even if it is a little erratic a little bit. You know what I'm saying? And it's good to have Virgos, Tauruses, or Capricorns in your life to point to those type of things. Other signs is for different qualities, but when it comes into the earth signs, they are naturally in line with those type of qualities. Virgos might be more entwined with keeping a schedule on something way faster than a Sagittarius or Aries or a Gemini or a Libra and things of that nature. Tauruses may be more predicated on trying to fixate themselves in something. So no matter the creative attribute that come from something, that's just the look, or that's just people talking about it, or that's just the feeling and emotion behind it, aka fire, air, and water. But those don't matter if the platform for these things to flourish on is not there, aka the gadget's not there, aka you can sing all day. Do you got the money to buy a microphone so it can actually seem presentable if you wanted to do a record or whatever? And boom, that's what you got Tauruses for. The practical things that you need to fixate yourself in for something to even look the part, not just you going off the expression and how it may be seen, fire. The feeling and emotion and how it could be reacted to, water. or the communication that could come from it and the word of mouth that could come from it air? No, what about the practicality and the stability? And is this something we could count on tomorrow behind it, aka the earth quality? And you could count on Tauruses for that. When it comes into the Capricorns and things of that nature, you could count on them for creating a situation where they take the lead in something that you may be unsure about, but yet it got potential to either make money, potential to put people in position, potential to look like it could go somewhere, potential to feel like you actually a part of something, or however the case may be. And whoever originated that idea to get that fixated thing to start going Taurus, so it can look mutable through the lens of oneself and others to see if it's applicable or not. Virgo, that's what the Capricorn is for, initiating that in the first place. Capricorns is the ones that go get the brick and be like, we could do something with this brick. Taurus is the ones that sit there and be like, all right, let's stack the bricks and see where we go. Virgos come and analyze it and see if it's sufficient enough so we could turn it into a well-oiled running business. Is it a crack in this wall? Is it a crack in this? Is this brick sufficient? Is it this? So Virgos deal with the worry until we work it out and get it right. Taurus deal with the building and stand there so we ain't all over the place and be fixated so this actual goal can reach the height of its potential. Capricorn initiate that whole concept in the first place. That's going to get us some money. I just got to go start from the brick because ain't nobody else going to do it unless you see the example of it. So that's where the cardinal sign and Capricorns lead. You see what I'm saying? All cardinal signs lead. I don't even care if you're looking at a celebrity, right? If they got a cardinal sign in their entourage, I guarantee that's the person that's putting everything together, or that's the person that's really gluing things. And if things start to scatter around a little bit, that's because it may have been more of the mutable sign in charge. So things get scattered a little bit and not glued that much, aka that would be the Virgo, Sagittarius, Gemini, Pisces. Sometimes things get stubborn, even if it ain't being scattered, and it make others scatter based upon the stubbornness that may come from the fixed signs and things of that nature. That will be the Taurus, the Aquarius, the Leo, the Scorpio. But then for the most part, will initiate us to get out of a fixed nature and not be switching up all the time, is presenting something new to give us a focus for something to be fixated and added on to in the first place. That's the cardinal signs. That's the Aries, the Cancer, the Libra, the Capricorn. So they lead by example, not necessarily. And here's the bad rap that cardinal signs get a lot of times, like Libras, Capricorns, Cancers, and such myself like Aries, right? Our qualities of leading is because we dealt with a lot of things that we felt like we had to lead for ourselves. So we get the bad rap where sometimes we're around immutable or fixed signs that we compete with at times, because fixed signs turn into cult leaders. Cardinal signs turn into people who can be cult, but they don't like that responsibility. You see what I'm saying? So for the most part, a lot of times cardinal signs get the bad rap because they show a certain energy and attract other signs that kind of make them feel like the cardinal signs want to think for them. The cardinal signs want to put them in a position. And a cardinal sign, I'm going to say 80 to 90% out of the time, 8 to 9% out of the time, is doing something so you can do that yourself, so we can be an equal. Not I'm doing something and because I did it strong, you want to give me grace by showing me you're weak a little bit, but you want to be a part. So you're willing to take my strength to make you strong. And in a cardinal sign mind, that's more like you want me to come up with all the ideas of your position. And you're using me as whatever you have lacked, or other individuals who probably didn't have that in your life. You're using me as a crutch for that, but the cardinal energy will make you feel like that's what I want you to do a lot of times. Or you want me, and then especially when it comes to Capricorn, sometimes Capricorns got to learn though. That's the difference between the Libra and the Aries and the Cancer. Sometimes Capricorns get a kick out of people coming to them sometimes until they go too far, and then they have to realize, well, nah, I don't really like this no more. I'm really doing this so you can do your position even if I'm not around. You know what I'm saying? Every now and then a Capricorn to get a kick out of it, it turns into an ego, and then they like floating around feeling like the boss when really you just got a bunch of people around that think that they think that you want them to do that because of the strength that you showing. So they feel like they have to do that to stay around you, but yet it pleases you also. But in your mind, it got you floating around like a boss or whatever the case may be until you tired of feeling like you the boss. And then you'll start doing certain things, and then people start showing you actions that make you think like, oh, they wasn't even thinking the way I was thinking about them. And then that's when that Capricorn hard with their relationships or their family members or parent quality come in. Because the Capricorns be having a lot of problems with their parents for that very same issue. You'll do something good in life, have a different idea of why people is validating it. Then when you get tired of it, because we always want to fulfill another area as all spirits, you would get into a space where you start taking advantage of those things and get the reaction that you didn't know that they was even thinking. You thought you was going to get a different reaction based upon they going to need you or whatever. Then when a person starts showing you they don't need you or they didn't need what you was thinking they was around you for and making you feel like and stuff like that, here's where you become hardcore, because really it's like everybody got emotions, but the Capricorn would get rid of it and act even harder to crush the person, so the person to will and kneel to be like, yeah, you do need me, or yeah, I was the one that was most important, or whatever. And like 8 times out of 10, Capricorns never reach those interactions with their family, friends, and associates and coworkers, because it never was like that in the first place. You got to get out of that strong, I was doing this in my mind, and I thought that's how everybody else seen the energy. You know what I'm saying? That's how y'all get y'all pride hurt. That's when y'all get in those situations that you actually got to start expressing your emotions and stuff that you was trying so hard to run away from every day, and making yourself sophisticated in areas that you think everybody else is giving importance to, what we call it sophisticated in. These are qualities that you try to uphold, and then when you can't, you don't even want to be around nobody. You stay in the crib. You want to go out. If you're in a relationship, that day don't really go as good as other days and stuff, that your partner be knowing and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Be like, I ain't even gonna bother him today. She'd be like, I ain't even gonna bother him today. Or and vice versa. You the female Capricorn. Homie would be like, man, I'm just gonna play basketball with the homies. I ain't even about to bother her today. These one of them days, and it ain't even her period. She ain't even her time in the month. She's just a goddamn Capricorn. You know what I'm saying? That for the most part, things get more clear. Everything get more clear. Sorry, y'all, I gotta use the restroom 1 second. Yeah, so that's that earth energy. Earth, especially when it comes into the earth moon, is always some type of over analyzation about what's actually going on, or the matter based upon the things that make yourself or others uncomfortable. When we get into Virgo, themselves or what make others uncomfortable, and try to come up with a generalized concept, try to make that work. When it comes to Tauruses, what makes them specifically comfortable, and they become stubborn around any person, place, or thing, circumstance, or situation that they're in that's forcing them in a form of uncomfortability. Tauruses that get stubborn, and you almost think that they won't budge, or you almost think that they're not taking the situation serious, or whatever the case may be. No, it's just it takes a lot harder energy and focus to take a Taurus out of their comfort zone than other signs, right? For no matter what you try to do it for, you could try to make something important to them, but if it's something that a Taurus is already doing, even if it's a crash out or whatever, or constantly going to jail, if it's Tauruses are a fixed sign, so they get fixated in something. So if it's something that they already comfortable with doing, no matter how degenerate it is that much harder to get them out of it than other signs, or whatever the case may be. You know what I'm saying? Because it's a comfort zone at some point. They done built a bunch of neurons based upon comparing and contrasting their experiences in life to find certain ideas to make them feel comfortable and not be in vulnerable situations. And all of that is a constellation of whatever that they're actually doing physically also. And whatever that they're doing physically that you may not like, there's all that other nuance to it that makes it the reason why you might try to budge the Taurus, and you can't budge them out of whatever is frustrating you at the moment about them being your family member, friend, or associate, or coworker, or whatever. So you have to cut deep when it comes to Tauruses, because they're surface level. So the emotions never really rise to the surface level because it makes them feel stupid or whatever. They're not, you know what I'm saying? They're not the opposite sign, Scorpio, where they have to deal with these things, and sometimes they go extreme, where it's extreme grudge, extreme excitement, extreme letdown, until they have to sit down somewhere and realize you're just in your feelings and emotions. We all got feelings, but the way Tauruses do it, They only care about the surface level first. So when it comes to the things that deeply emotionally affect them and stuff like that, they rather make themselves busy or show you a practical side of themselves so they can have a practical solution of dealing with these things. And a lot of times when it comes into the internal world, it doesn't really take outside influences for us to do that. These are times that we need to ourselves or towards our gadgets. So Tauruses love their comfort zones, their gadgets, their foods, their comfortability levels, their fabrics, their couches, anything that has a leisure with it that can remind them of a comfort zone. Anytime the external worlds make the little bulls and Mrs. Bulls have to get up out of their seat and ram them because you bothering them from being in their comfortability. And that's the only time a raging bull will get up and you can't sit him or her down, whatever the case may be. You have something to do with messing up their comfortability. And it just so happens, since we all colonized right now, a large percentage scale of comfortability is that money. So you could bet your bottom dollar you're going to get hit upside your head by a Taurus when you start messing up they slash comfortability slash money in today's. You know what I'm saying? So you might as well just chill out already. You know what I'm saying? In this aspect of life, or whatever, especially when the moon going to Virgo. You sit back and pay attention to a Taurus, they'll show you things that you being another sign that you are in on the real meaning behind why certain people do certain things that you wouldn't do based upon how it may be seen or felt. You know what I'm saying? Fire. Or maybe how it may be thought about and how people talk about it. Air. Or maybe how it may be felt also, because the fillers is the fire and water, but how it may be felt or how it may be emotionalized and how people deal with that emotions and is it worth it or not. Water. Earth energy will show you none of that matter when it comes to the dollar. Yeah, I'll look crazy no matter who talk about me. The hell with air. Yeah, I'll look crazy no matter how I'm seen and how other people feel about it. The hell with fire. Yeah, I'll look crazy no matter how someone deal with it with their emotions and they won't do it that way or whatever the case. The hell with water. It's earth right now. You know what I'm saying? That's how the Virgos think. You know, that's the Virgos. You know what I'm saying? Taurus is Capricorn. You know what I'm saying? Unless you're around an unproductive one, then they're in more of their other energies based upon spending too much time being distracted, using their quality for the other alignments in their chart that attracted other people that throw them off their natural course and stuff. So they have to use their energy for things that's less weak because it ain't the sun and moon or the ascendant. So you have to use your sun and moon and ascendant first always. And especially if your sun or your moon and earth, then you got water somewhere, air somewhere, fire somewhere, and you have allowed your life to not allow those things to be used for your sun, moon, and ascendant. You allow these things to distract you based upon maybe peer pressure, maybe who popular or not, maybe the look right, you know what I'm saying, maybe people pleasing energy. So you use all your energy for others or external and depletion, and you only find time for your true self when you by yourself or around people you close to, and it don't even be built up on a large percentage scale to turn into a creativity that you don't have to people please. You got something that other people like or whatever the case may be, and you don't have to go out in the world with that peer pressure of I want to be accepted energy. You know what I'm saying? Because that's all we all be doing and stuff like that. Anytime somebody want to glow, anytime somebody want to be lit, anytime somebody say, yeah, we about to do it big or whatever the case may be. Yeah, all that sound good through the filtering systems or your biases, but through the spiritual world, what you actually doing is you just want attention from other individuals. If something actually made you feel good, that you do, the things that you do and the things that you like doing, you don't need a person, an ant, a bug, a cloud around you for you to can't wait to go outside and do that cartwheel or however the case may be or whatever that expertise is. And here's the thing, when you put yourself in that space, you develop the energy in it long enough for it to become one of the things that we present in the world that make the world go around and everybody else want, and you could jump into this bargain and exchange energy or whatever the case. But it's so many other things out here where people scared to be in these energies for a long time because of society pressure, societal norms and the peer pressure that Michael Jordan taught us and Walt Disney, to the point that get put in the back seat and you get put in some things that's laid out for us already as an example. And when it's not creativity behind it, these examples become weaker and weaker and weaker to the point it's like how we got technology right now. It's a crutch. It's not you developing your own creativity. It's you just participating with something that look like it, or however the case may be. So that's the kind of world we're in at the moment. But for the most part, when we get into the You know why we got into that. But like I said, when we get into these energies, the earth sign is going to be what we're paying attention to. Practicality, what makes sense. And if you're unproductive, for the most part, anytime you express yourself may not have anything to do with what grounds us at the moment. And you may have been doing things that ground yourself and others yesterday, day before yesterday, or whatever the case. If it ain't got nothing to do with no money, it ain't grounded. If it ain't got nothing to do with your health being cool, it ain't grounded. You know what I'm saying? You might have been helping somebody saying some spooky stuff all day or whatever the case may be. If you can't specifically help the person with the actual question about the actual health issue that they got or whatever, they're going to be frustrated with what you're saying, even if you said the exact or something similar last week that actually resolved or the issue or did like a minor cool out. You know what I'm saying? Where that person just took that and it was like, yeah, that's cool. That do make sense. Or and vice versa. You know what I'm saying? You could be the type of individual where you're receiving that. And for the most part, it may have worked last week, but it may not work tomorrow. It may not work the day after tomorrow. It may not work half of the day on that third day. So just be aware of these things and try not to let these things affect you too much because it's going to affect us all. Especially when it comes to the other mutable signs, fixed signs. You could probably sit back and eat popcorn or whatever the case may be, except for the in conjunction. But at the same time, what you're already fixated in, and as the moon going to Virgo, you're just going to have to learn how to be a little bit more mutable. Learn how to switch up. Learn how to add. Learn how to adjust. Like all fixed signs sometimes be in comfort zones to the point that they get scared to do something different when it's called for it because it don't seem like you could come up with the idea of it matching the results of something that you already doing. So you'll get extremely fixated, and when something switch up, the first instant for the fixed sign is to disagree with it. The first instant with the fixed sign is to find the negativity of it. The first thing with the fixed sign is to look at it like this is a crash out thing. People just giving it attention, or this ain't nothing new. This ain't even doing it right or whatever. And then it takes time, and this where consistency turn into stubbornness after a while for fixed signs, which would be the Scorpio, the Taurus, the Aquarius, and Taurus, Aquarius, Leo, and Scorpio. You know what I'm saying? Every now and then it takes time for them to kind of see that, oh, something is different, or however the case may be. And depending on if there was the lower octave version of their sign, they create a bad face card. Because before coming to that realization, the stubbornness made them express a whole bunch of tainted energies, where now it's kind of like you got two choices. Either express the differentness and allow yourself to be vulnerable for a second for people to be like, see, why you coming around now, whatever the case. Or hold on to your guns. Hold on to your guns and things of that nature, or hold on to your ovaries or whatever. Like, well, yeah, this how I had real strong opinions about that. I look crazy right now trying to act like I think different, whatever. No matter if I'm look like I'm proved wrong a little bit or whatever, let me come up with a deep investigated, switch up idea of how I may be still right somewhere. I'm gonna work more on that. And then that's when you just get led into a deep hole, being an Aquarius or a Scorpio or a Taurus or a Leo. You know what I'm saying? Y'all getting extremely crash out energies. Leo getting a crash out energy is in their way of expressing themselves. That is like all the attention for all the wrong reasons now. Now you just basically just crashing out and just saying, well, if I'm already wrong, I'm gonna be the best wrong person ever, or whatever the case. Scorpios will start crashing out emotionally and start taking things personally without letting people know if they're taking it personally, and be like, well, I might be wrong, but this person wrong got something, this family member, friend, or associate, and as soon as they wrong, I got all the information about what they wrong about. Don't let us be around the goddamn family reunion table or whatever the case may be. Everybody gonna know this person wrong or whatever, because I know I ain't the only wrong person. I ain't the only wrong. You know what I'm saying? Even though the way I express myself, everybody still think I think I'm right. Nah, deep down, I know I'm wrong, but I'm stinging myself right now, and I can't wait to take this stinger out. This venom to sting your family, sting your friend, your employee. You know what I'm saying? That's how Scorpios do it. They sit around and wait for a time to put you in the same position as them, so things can feel better now when they're around you and stuff. You know what I'm saying? They got that secret energy, like, yeah, I know when I ain't around this person got the ability to look down on me because this situation we went through. You know what I'm saying? Nah, I got to change that real quick, or I don't want to be around that family member like that no more. You know what I'm saying? Scorpios be going too far sometimes. And these are things y'all never know. It just be floating in their head and floating in their heart space and stuff. You know what I'm saying? Floating their emotions and stuff. You'll see it after a while and you don't hear from them. You know what I'm saying? You'll understand after a while when you thought they really loved you because the way they were expressing themselves, and you had to realize you was getting cheated on for a whole 6 months. You know what I'm saying? It's deep like that. It's deep like that sometimes. It get deep sometimes when it comes to Scorpios. You know what I'm saying? It get deep like that sometimes, so you just gotta be careful and stuff. And if you the Scorpio, be careful that you don't sting yourself till you get in that type of position, to the point that you start to validate what you're doing like it ain't that wrong. You know what I'm saying? You be around a family member or a friend or associate, you be like, oh, they think they got everything going good and stuff. They need to know stuff bad happens in the world. That don't mean somebody picked you to like spark it and spring off the experience. You know what I'm saying? In a real sneaky way or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like the Scorpios, they'd be the type of person that they know that they got a family member, friend, or associate that they take to work. And let's say they're in that situation where they got proved wrong in another area. That ain't even got nothing to do with the situation. They'd make a family member late on purpose and stuff like, oh, I overslept. You know what I'm saying? They know, but they planned it the whole time they felt a certain way. They ain't been planning that all week and stuff like, you know what I'm saying? Planning like, I'm gonna act like I overslept and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm gonna take them to work. I'm and I'm gonna show this expression and stuff like that, like I really was asleep. I'm gonna put some fake coal in my eye. You know what I'm saying? So like they gonna go deep with it to the point that you might really think like, damn, they was asleep that time. They gonna pass. Damn, I'm late, but that's my favorite cuddy. You know what I'm saying? That's my favorite uncle. That's my favorite auntie. You know what I'm saying? That's a goddamn Scorpio. You just got me. You was late, and they knew they was gonna do that all week because you proved them wrong about something. You probably told them the Spurs was gonna win or something. You know what I'm saying? Last week or so. The Scorpios be spiteful in a way that you would never know that they're doing that. So don't be thinking that a Scorpio is around and you did something wrong and they forgot. Don't ever think that. Because they smile at the stuff and things ain't changed yet. You know what I'm saying? Don't ever think it ain't changed inside the Scorpio. You know what I'm saying? And you will meet that demise. You keep fucking around thinking that you don't know what's going on because they still smiling the same way they smiled last week. This might be the same smile, different intent. I'm going to tell you that right now. Last week, the smile was genuine. This week, the smile was to keep you right there so you don't know what's going on. So right when you wrong, they're going to let everybody know you wrong so they ain't the only one wrong no more in the family. And sometimes it gets just that petty. You know what I'm saying? So just be careful. You know what I'm saying? Be careful. But at the same time, everybody going to be confused on how to express ourselves due to the fact, especially Scorpios, because the in conjunction. The sun is still in Gemini. So that in conjunction, 150-degree angle. 150-degree angle, quincunx. So that's like something that's not right in front of you. And this for everybody, for you to understand alignments. Alignments trickle down in all experiences in our life. But if we can see these things happen in lighter stages, the lighter stages first before heavier stages. So it play out in minute experiences before macro experiences. So before you even had an angle for you to attack a situation, the sun and moon been doing that. You know what I'm saying? Then trees and branches been doing that. So these are qualities that if you sit and ponder and meditate on and things of that nature, you like, oh, I'm doing that same thing in my life and my chemical mechanism bubble fluid or whatever. So let me take this and put it into action. And then when you start to relate that to other people and plan out that energy and stuff like that, you're starting to see, oh, that's a real thing. Even if you're doing things physically, you could put people or make this as a test or do it with objects. Put an object in front of you, put an object behind you, put an object on this side, put an object on that side, put them on catecorders, or do this with your group of people, your family, friends, associates, your tribe, your whoever you around, right? And then all y'all close your eyes and meditate and ponder, but have the intent on your mind. How do y'all feel as a spirit? You could stand in the middle or have somebody else stand in the middle. Y'all just, what y'all going to start pondering on what's resonating and what condensed to become physical, which you're using to do in the external world anyway. You're peeling back layers. And then y'all going to be able to study the sense of directing, like the sense of positioning or whatever. You're going to know the person or the object in front of you don't give you the same sense and the stimuli, thought process, tension span, stimuli, and adrenaline as the person or the object behind you, as the other person that's catacorner, as the person on this side. This will give you a concept if you can't have one without the other, and this gives you a concept of angling. You handle a situation different. You can't punch forward to touch the person behind you. You can't stretch to the right to reach the person on the left. It takes different mechanisms. So for the most part, if things did that before you doing that and you just being aware of it as that essence is already here, sun and the moon been doing that or whatever the case may be. It gives you more awareness and a broader aspect of how to attack your situations. That ain't nothing else but spirituality, if we want to give it a term, because you're conflating and comparing and contrasting with the physical from traits that ain't necessarily physical. But if you don't want to sound spooky, don't get into the mind frame like these things ain't physical. Start with the starting point of the less dense become heavier dense, the physical. So the less dense is water, air, thoughts. Heavier dense is your body, the external world, or however the case may be. So when you're understanding those pieces, you're acting out relatability energy. Anytime you find relatability and in-sync energy act out, you're acting out closer to God, the Great Spirit. So for the most part, you find more solutions than non-solutions. You find more productivity and creativity than unproductivity and being able to harm yourself and others. When you're productive, you're able to help yourself and others. You know what I'm saying? And even sacrifice in the right areas. So when you're able to do that, right, it's you separating yourself from the mind and the body and just being the observer, the soul, individual space, the spirit. The individual spirit space, that's the soul, the solo spirit. Your space, if you want to use an equalized word and you're atheist. Your space. And you're able to observe the mind mechanism, the chemical fluids that condense and become the fleshly fluids. And for the most part, you're putting these two things together to see the synchronicity in that level. And this will make you a true angel. You know what I'm saying? Because now you're in the space with all space. And all space within space, all possibilities, that's God. And then you understand the path or the direction of the waters and stuff. Yehovah. And then you understand how it condenses and become physical. And you're in the physical womb in the motherland in Mecca or whatever. And Gucci Manitou. You know what I'm saying? So that gives you all kind of concepts and ideas to understand. Ptah, the image of the puzzle or whatever the case may be. And then you get into the goddamn directions, however, that also brings out the color. So you get the east, Wabanakia, right? You get the north, yellow. Then how you so Wabanakia, east, white. Then you get Skipakia, right? That's yellow. And then when you bring these things together, right, you get that kind of shade, that yellow coming into that phase of green and that wine or whatever. This what y'all calling clear or blue or whatever, but it's really like this is like a green or like a yellow or whatever the case may be. A yellow or green, kind of like a high vibe. Really ain't a color. It's hard to even explain. But if you want to break it down, white east, Wabanakia north, Skipakia north, yellow, green. Then you get west. Then physically that'd be the Western Hemisphere over here, but then, or America, South America, North America. But then you get Miskaki, red, and then you get south, debacle, right, and things of that nature. Now, and then that's how that play out if we want to make the cross and smear the cross out, and then it takes you on the glory road, right, or the glory path, or however the case may be, and then you actually get to see the medicine wheel, but you also know where to put pieces together, each chemical fluid to put together to present a new fluid that can be helpful, because this is what we all doing. Minds coming together, collapsing, and becoming a fleshly fluid, or organ, or whatever. So when you know what mind states come together that work sufficiently in sync more than other pieces or whatever the case may be, this is when you become a medicine man or a medicine woman based upon taking that vision quest and things of that nature. And then the red road take you above the horizon, and then you get the debacle road, and then that take you on below the horizon, however the case may be. And if you want to see that on a geographical location or whatever, then that'd be like the east or whatever, or Europe or however the case, or by the Black Sea for them to even create the spectrum of the blue eye, right? This is another thing, it ain't no out of Africa theory, because ain't nobody out of Africa near a Black Sea to create blue eyes. So anybody who got blue eyes necessarily is from Europe, but for the most part, Wakanakia, right, or the Wabanakia house, it'll be on the east, right, and then you get the upper part on the eastern part when you're getting on that side, but in distance. So that's when you get Asians and whatever the case may be, right? Skipakia north, right? And you get North Americans, South Americans, the Caribbeans and stuff like that with the but the South, the Central, and North America and things of that nature. Then when you get the red or whatever, then that's the Miskaki, and then you get the Bako, right? And that'll be the Africa and Arabs and some Somalians and Nigerians or whatever the case may be. So you got bringing in something new. Then you have the life of something, then you have the fall of something, then you have the death of something, and things of that nature. Let's say you're a colonist. It don't got nothing to do with this, but I just like to make sense out of things. Let's say you're a colonist, right? And you're from Europe or Britain or Spain or whatever, right? So that's WURLDIAH, right? Let's say you gave birth to, but you came after. So you gave birth to your new nation or whatever, right? Who gives it life is probably who you do business with, right? Skipakia, Asians, Chinese, right? Yellow. But then you may experience a fall, right? Or a fallen people or possibilities of falling or whatever based upon your opposite. Then that's Native Americans or whatever the case may be, Muskaki or whatever. But then you may experience your death of your nation, mix and mingling too much with the debacle, aka what comes last for the winter season or whatever. And that will be the Arabs and Africans or whatever the case may be, and the Polynesians and things of that nature. So when you get into like looking at it from that, I know a lot of people in the military like to look at certain things in certain ways. So that's a little gem right there too. It ain't a gem though. It ain't real in reality. It's just, you know what I'm saying? Because I see a lot of arguments that people be having, that race bait and rage bait and stuff like that. It would be crazy. It would be sounding silly and stuff like that. But if you want to take it out of birth rates or whatever, you probably look at it like that. You know what I'm saying? But if you look at it as a whole, WURLDIAH, white, East, always in the process of trying to give birth to something or new something or whatever, whether they have to mimic, do it themselves or whatever the case, find the fluid, find the way to dance or whatever, right? China, always giving life to something. They always making new stuff, gunpowder, new technology, video games or whatever the case may be. Native Americans may always experience a fall or falling of something or having to help people understand this is the space you're supposed to be in when things could be good, but it may not always be right. So harvest or whatever. And then for the most part, Africans and Arabs and whatever teach us how to stand on something. So their durability, they could withstand a lot more. Arabs, like French Montana, Moroccans, Africans, like African Americans, Nigerians and stuff like that. A lot of stuff could be hold up on y'all and stuff because you already the transition or whatever the case may be. So it's tough when it comes to DNA. Sometimes y'all percentage scale will crush anybody else's a lot of times, and when the mixing come in or whatever, when it comes into withdrawing a lot of seasonal changes and stuff like that, y'all Arabs, Africans, African Americans stronger in that area and stuff like that due to the fact of the birth, life, fall, and death. But the death is an accumulation of birth, life, and fall. So you got all them tactics. You give birth to new stuff. You know what I'm saying? Give life to stuff. You know what I'm saying? Know how to make things fall. Know how to give wisdom and spirituality to have people know how to harvest so they're not going too far into egos spiritually. Because we ain't talking about physical harvest, but it leads to the same type of attributes or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you go too far into your attention, too far in what you think you're seeing. You got to retract these things and find things that make you feel good or make you and your people. So outside world isn't necessarily a predicate. You know what I'm saying? Arabs, Africans, the East Indians, y'all got all that. You know what I'm saying? Y'all got, because it's the debacle part. You know what I'm saying? So y'all got kind of tough skin, basically. And it shows in reality also. Tough skin. You know what I'm saying? So a light-skinned African American, we call them red bone. So y'all not orange and red. Y'all light-skinned red bone though. But it's skin texture. Y'all skin is tough. Arab's skin is tough. So even if an Arab just as light as a white person, you can see the difference of the skin texture and can tell clearly that's Arab. That's you know what I'm saying? So everybody got their traits from their waters that they come from or whatever the case may be to have certain phenotypes and tongue and certain ways of perceiving certain things that develop as your organs anyway. You know what I'm saying? Based upon these concepts and these directions and the sun and everybody in each landmass being in that position. You know what I'm saying? So Africa is big and Arabs and Morocco and stuff like that, whole lot of accumulation. And if Earth gets shaped and formed out of water, that had a lot of time to gather. So the landmass is big and things of that nature without calling it Africa, just that landmass and stuff like that is real big and stuff because I had a whole lot of time to accumulate from east, north, west, you know what I'm saying? A white, yellow, red, WURLDIAH, Skipakia, Muskaki, and then all colors together make the debacle. You know what I'm saying? Purple. You know what I'm saying? And when we talk about skin color, not that type of color, just a collection of something. So that's thick. So when your blood is thick, it make thick tissues. It make thick skin. So you get to endure in diseases that maybe Europeans struggle with, Asians struggle with, and Native Americans struggle with. Arabs and Africans don't struggle like that with that. And if you right now, y'all know that. You know that if you who you are. You know what I'm saying? You know that. But for the most part, that's just these understanding the atmosphere and stuff, and even bugs, certain animals, and why they have certain color spectrums, why they're attracted to certain foods other than other stuff, why certain fruit grow, or however the case may be. But all of this is based upon alignment and angling. And alignment, light rays, is just a lighter fluid, lighter water. It's a makeup of how water get condensed, and different waters in different positions interact. And this is what we call different type of chemical reactions, but it's the joining of two or more energies that was in their own independent space. And then that first it play out as different angling. Then once that accumulate, it start to play out as different shape and form bubble, then visualization, right? And then for the most part, each angle create a different spectrum of life, of how we conduct ourselves. So our organs start to collapse and get created from that, to only know how to react and respond and be aware of just that. So you're made out of light, which condense and become fluid. So you're only able to be aware of that. You're not able to come up with a concept of being aware of something out of that. That's like a fish being aware of being out of the water. It's a transition. You are a fish in the water. Air is the less dense version of it. You're just in a transition. But fluid itself collapsing and interacting with each other as chemical responses is causing what we call visualization. So when you intoxicate yourself, you visualize. But this is what's going on in the atmosphere. Like when you listen to a scientist, they may make you think that this is something that's going on within the brain. But your brain is made out of the macro version that's doing the very same thing. You don't know how to be aware of nothing else but that. So the chemical reactions in the external world is creating the visualization. This water bucket interacting with this water bucket. Accumulation creates condensity and add-on, so something becomes more whole, fleshly fluid. But in this lighter stage, that's what it is. So there is no going out in space. You're just going into a current. A strong wind, that's the same thing as strong water current. It's the same thing. You're just a human evolved, a land creature, but it's the same thing as a fish in water. The mechanism slightly confuses you because you think fish got gills and they swim. But what you don't understand is your bone structure and you being on land, but in all actuality, a lot of your nuance that's most important is doing the same thing. You're just in a container. Like stuff like your heart and your brain is swimming. Your brain and heart is not on the ground. Yet that's the organ for your main processor of what made it, the thoughts that it's receiving, and the feelings that it collapsed and become to be as a reaction of the chemical process of it, or whatever. You just made force fields around it because we've been evolving. So you got force fields around it like a ship, your body. But you're swimming through water. You just call it air and an atmosphere. But your brain and all these things have gills. It's like your lungs connected to your brain. Like, let's say if you ain't have your body and you was just your organs. You didn't have your body wrapped around your organs. You are a fish swimming in air. It's just the way the metrics plan out, the physicality and the way things sink. How y'all concept of gravity, but it's the way things sink and condense. These things that you use to claim you're standing up and walking on the surface is every now and then you just give it a lot of importance and claiming you're walking on earth. But it's really just a metric that you created as an animal or whatever to kind of suit for your brain and heart don't be flapping on the ground. You know what I'm saying? Because without those fins and the other external fins, like all the way down, if you call it bone structures, I know your bone ain't fins, but it play out like external representations that protect the main organ or whatever. But the main organ ain't never walking. The main organ ain't touching nothing. The main organ is doing the same thing a fish do. That's why they say fish is brain food, because the main organs is just that. It's just you in a less dense version of it. It's the same thing. Last time I checked, air, atmosphere collapse as light and become the cloud, and that collapse and become the water, that collapse and become current, strong. And then when different pockets of those independents was colliding together. This was creating the periodic table of minerals as the strong current, and eventually those things start to collide and we get crystals and sand particles, and eventually land start to derive out of water. See what I'm saying? So once we get the material and then we get the coming out the water, and the water slide off that, and it's doing that so many times, here's what y'all calling rivers, oceans, or whatever, but it's just the land that you're able to be on because it have been created or whatever the case may be. So we're rotating to the left. So all the water cycle based upon what's sprung the atmosphere is doing the same thing. You can't go past the atmosphere. Ain't no out there. And it condenses, and the water does the same thing. So when we talk about the universal draining system for the whole world, before we call it these names, it just so happens the whole world draining system ended up in Ohio, in North America. You know what I'm saying? So that's the whole world. All the 5 seas, all the 5 main seas together, ultimately is rotating to the left, no matter the micro geographical locations you're in, to have your specific, like how I just broke it down, how land get derived out of water, and you got your geographical location because it's large. But at the same time, all the 5 seas together for the whole world is generalized from a macro perspective, rotating to the left, all of it together. That's why the sun appeared to be going to the right. And when we see the moon, which is a reflection of the atmosphere or whatever the case as a whole, and its most lightest state. So because once the lighter, the more things we can see as a whole, but not as a collection of things that's heavy enough to fall. You know what I'm saying? It's just all the things that make it heavy to be here in its lighter stage scattered out. So you're seeing a full reflection of all the 5 seas together as we rotate to the left and start to face away from the east. And then now when you face completely away from the east, you get to see a full moon. Now as the moon start to wane and go back towards the east while we're still rotating to the left, you're getting ready to see the same moon phases until you can't see it, or based upon your geographical location, you can see the moon and the sun at the same time because it's just reflecting of the atmosphere. But it becomes you still facing the east. So it becomes a new moon. You know what I'm saying? AKA, you can't see the full reflection of the atmosphere. There is no any other concept calling the moon a rock, you know what I'm saying, or whatever. You can never explain what blocks it out and why we always had that specific phase of the moon, or you would never be able to ground that. You would just be wasting everybody's tax dollars or something like that. You know what I'm saying? You'll never be able to ground that. We got to ground things because no one told us we don't know everything. You have to learn to be a degenerate. You have to learn to be retarded. You're born already knowing everything. It's larger on a percentage scale that no one had to teach you to put your lips on your mother's nipple or the bottle and for you to know how to swallow and things of that. And now what the problem may come from, you born around degenerates and they allowed you to be next to the goddamn kitchen appliance cabinets and you swallowed the wrong thing, but no one actually had to teach you to swallow. So it's larger on a percentage scale that there's things intuitively we already know what we're doing. So it's second nature. We don't necessarily need an explanation on doing it because we're doing it for purposes that if we ponder on it enough, we can reach those. And I should do a live on that. But for the most part, we start trying to do things that other people tried to do that's made up, that we're using the things we already do as second nature all the way to the stuff that's beyond y'all biases that y'all forgot or whatever. And y'all, just how you get fatigued or whatever the case may be. But there's nothing in life that we don't know because we're already doing it by second nature. So anything you're trying to know is something somebody else made up, and they ain't have nothing to do with things that we already know. So it's like somebody making a video game and you think you intelligent because you figured out how they made a video game. Yet you already doing something for you to grow fingers and knuckles and a brain to be able to make the video game or whatever. So you're not really intelligent. You're just really trying to learn what someone else made up. And that's what create what you think you a confusion at and start counterpartmentalizing to think that you don't know everything. You do know everything. You know that the things that you specifically don't know is because another human made it. How would you know all about it? How you know the codes they made in the game code book? You wasn't around making a video game. So those are the only things you don't know. Things that other people made. Those ain't for you to know. But you know everything. You supposed to know you don't know that. It's just you equate that with actual things in reality. So when you run into things like that you don't know, and you don't know that, you equate that with that has something to do with the world. No, that's a person made up something in the world. That ain't got nothing to do with the world. You know if you plant a seed, a tree will grow. You know what I'm saying? So for the most part, that's what you know or whatever. Anything you don't know, somebody else was saying, hey, we could chop down a tree and we could grow a tree without a seed or whatever the case may be. And now you going through life's of studies and stuff and trying to say, hey, a person, hey, we don't know everything. And then if somebody asks you why you don't know everything, I guarantee your highest intelligence will be on this ground basis that God's children don't look at as intelligent. And you probably don't even believe in no spirituality or whatever to be. Like everything you would say will be on the ground basis of where there's people in the world that came up with the idea of chopping down a tree. Oh, there's people in the world that came up with the idea. So there's things, but all that is predicated on other people just like you. You ain't gonna never break down nothing that a monkey did or whatever because you don't care about it because it ain't got nothing to do with your bank account. You know what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? A lot of times. So y'all don't, and here's the thing. You can't, there's no such thing as lying and you always have to tell the truth. So here's the thing. You know you don't know things. So everything you're gonna be describing, you wouldn't even be able to describe what you don't know if you ain't know you didn't know those things. If it's something just out of a figment of imagination, you're not even gonna be able to explain, yeah, I don't know about that. If it's something you truly don't know, you just don't know. See what I'm saying? So for the most part, if you run into something you don't know, it's predicated on what somebody else created or whatever. You know what I'm saying? But you already know you put your dick in a pussy or whatever the case may be, you have a child. Or catch an STD. You already know that. And say you already know that. It ain't got nothing to do with nothing else or whatever the case may be. You know what I'm saying? And let's say you don't know what you're doing. You know you don't know what you're doing. That's why you're trying to learn, trying to figure out. Ask your big sister or something like that. Or ask your big brother or whatever, because your parents ain't teach you the birds or the bees or whatever. But you knew you didn't know. So you always know, and you always in the truth. We just start disguising these things and get lost in disguising. You know you didn't know, and then you try to learn. Then when you try to learn, right, now you try to act like you know something, and then you try to express what you have learned. And then here's where you around a spirit like me. You wouldn't be expressing it with that over-exaggerated energy if it wasn't something you just learned in the first place. Because if it was something you already was doing, you'll probably feel better doing it when no one knows. Because you'll be fucking all your friends, chicks, all your... You know what I'm saying? But you want to go show everybody because you know what? You never had it. Yeah, that's why it's important for it to be in you than on you. And I love all y'all from the bottom of my heart. Thank God for spirituality and y'all next door neighbor, homie. You know what I'm saying? Flight boss, be, for sure. Listen to the Mind of an Terry's Moon. I am the Royal Archangel Uriel, and I'm here to carry out God duties and responsibilities, duties, and obligations. Rector Swahil, hold that yahoo. Massasoit, Mama Natoy. Hee hee, woo. Masasaki.